ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back, finally, to the Blu-ray Roulette. It's been a long time. I feel like it, well, in a way it feels like it hasn't been a long time, but I know that it has been a long time since the last installment. I'm certainly a bit fuller in the face since the last one, so it's definitely been a little while. And this is a monumental edition of the Blu-ray Roulette within the series of Conquering My Collection. Because as you can see on the screen, I have 1,000 films left. Now, I've recently posted a video, which is unlike me. The uploads have been very infrequent this year and for the past 6 months or so. But I did recently post a video where I haven't even started recording the screen yet. Maybe you haven't seen the 1,000. There we go. Okay, so now there's Letterboxd, 1,000. There you go, you can see. So, I recently posted a video talking about my Blu-ray watch list, which is this watch list right here, which you can see, and you've seen it in the previous installments of the Blu-ray Roulette series if you've seen those videos. So, the gist of it, to cut a long story short for anyone new to this, I have every film in my Blu-ray collection that I haven't seen in this Letterboxd watch list, so that whenever I log it on my Letterboxd, it conveniently takes it off the list for me and I can see the number. And I forget the actual number we started with, but it was like 1,120 films or something like that. In fact, let's just, for the sake of it, because this is the movie number 1,000, well, not movie number 1,000, but the movie that will topple the kind of the burden that has been on my shoulders for so long, the four-figure count of over 1,000 films, short films and documentaries, of course. So if I go on my Twitter and go to my Blu-ray watch list, we'll find out. Let's just do it while we're here and while we're doing the old the screen sharing gimmick. Let's scroll through the past 14 months. We're now in March of 2022. I started this in January of 2021, which is counting all the films I owned but hadn't seen. And every week on Twitter, I don't always get to it at the end of every week, but I've been updating it on a weekly basis. And you can see everything that I've been watching over the past 14 months. So it started, 1,110 films. So after 14 months, I'm now down to 1,000. Right there, which doesn't mean I've watched 110 films. I've watched a lot more than that, but I've also bought things that have then added to the watch list number. So my goal now is, I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. My goal is, once I've watched this next film, which I will select at random in this video and then talk about, I'll be at 999. But I've also been looking through my collection at things I might want to sell. Things that I feel like, am I ever going to really watch that? Do I need to watch that? And you look at films like a Danny Trejo kind of low rent Western for film. It could be enjoyable, but do I really need to see it? Probably not. There's quite a few in my Poundland section that could definitely get the chop. So they've been kind of waiting to be removed from the list, but I wanted to get past 1,000, on my own, so to speak. So once I watch this next film, it'll go to 999, and then I'll remove the films that I'm selling. So I'll probably be 985 or something like that. So it's pretty good for me. I mean, it might seem, again, it's all relative, right? But it's a huge deal for me, because I think having this many films in my collection I haven't seen is both exciting, enjoyable, rewarding, and this past 14 months of really pushing myself deeper into my collection has been phenomenal, and it's only continued to kind of just affirm that I have a good idea of what I'm going to enjoy when it comes to the things that I buy. If we do get rid of the short films, and there's a few TV shows, not many, let's get rid of those as well, and then documentary. If we got rid of documentaries, hang on, 96 film. I'm just showing. Wait, am I hiding or am I showing? Yes, hide TV shows. Hide short films. Okay. And hide documentaries. Okay, so Without documentaries, without short films, there are 774 feature films that I haven't watched. So there's that. So there's like a good 250, well, a little less than, maybe about 200 odd, 225 documentaries and short films in this list. But we are at 1,000 here. And yeah, so I'm gonna do what I always do on the Blu-ray Roulette, and that's hit shuffle, and we're gonna go with the first one. We'll see what happens if it's something that I might have planned for something else down the line. But it's yeah, I thought I'd record this and just do a random Blu-ray Roulette shuffle to mark the occasion. But getting under that four-figure number is going to be a weight off my shoulder, because again, it's I can't remember what the total was, but I think I watched about 180 films from my collection in 2021. So with the films that got added back in, it kind of, and also the films that I bought and then watched, it was maybe closer to 200. So I did really well in 2021, and I've been enjoying getting to this point. I know it seems very, again, trivial. Man, my brain isn't working properly. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I've got to take the bins out in a second. So I will be watching this tomorrow night, but I just couldn't wait. I was like a kid on Christmas morning. Christmas night, I can't wait until the morning to do this. I want to do it now because I'm an adult, and I can just open the presents the night before. And the present is what film I will be watching. And there's such a wide variety of stuff. So let's do it. Here we go. Here's the film that's going to take me under 1,000. We're going to hit shuffle. Heart of Glass. I have absolutely no idea what that is. Gun to my head, I couldn't tell you. It must be a short film or a documentary. It's not a feature film. What year is it from? 1976. I couldn't tell you what that is. How funny is that? It's a Werner Herzog film. Oh, it is a feature film. Okay. Heart of Glass, 1976. A Werner Herzog documentary. A small Bavarian village is renowned for its ruby glass blowing works. When the foreman of the works dies suddenly without revealing the secret of the ruby glass, the town slides into a deep depression, and the owner of the glass works becomes obsessed with the lost secret. Did I say a documentary? I'm assuming it's not a documentary then by reading that synopsis. It is a Werner Herzog film. Well, shit. That's what we're going with then. I have the BFI box set that has many of his films, and so I wasn't familiar with all of them, but Heart of Glass, I guess that's where we're going next. 94 minutes long. I can roll with that. Joel, Jolly Studio, has rated that 4 stars out of 5. That's promising. Yeah, alright, Heart of Glass. There we go. That's going to be the 1,000th. No, it's not the 1,000th film. It's going to be the film that film number 1,000 in terms of the watch list being pared down eventually to 0, which will hopefully happen in my lifetime. If not, I'll pass it on to my kids. So there we go. That is the Heart of Glass. We were close to having Scarface, the 1932 Repo Man. Man, I would have loved it if it was Repo Man, because I just watched Harry Dean Stanton Partly Fiction, and there's a clip of this. A clip of Repo Man in that, and I've got Repo Man. It's in the massive cinema collection, but there's just this clip of Harry Dean Stanton. He's like, "You see that? Look over there. Ordinary fucking people, man. I hate them." I just love that quote. So I'm really intrigued to watch Repo Man now. Outland. Oh man, that would have been fun. Rollerball. These some really fun movies, and then this like Werner Herzog drama. It's not significant, All right. Oh, The Last Command. Emil Jannings, legendary actor, probably a Nazi, unfortunately. Touch of Zen, that would have been incredible. The H-Man, Shut In with Naomi Watts. The Pokemon the Movie 3. There was a lot of interesting stuff in this top, like Pretty in Pink, The Last Picture Show, A Letter to Three Wives, Dark Water. I have no idea what The Devil's Eye is. Let's see. A Bergman film, that'll be in the big Bergman box set, which I have started, by the way. So, did you hear about the Morgans? This is a film I should probably get rid of. So, yeah, I just don't. I like romantic comedies, though. Don't get me wrong. It's I didn't buy it for no reason. Oh, Sam Elliott. What a fucking shame. Right. Anyway, I'm kind of. enjoying doing this, even though it's done now. So I need to go watch the film Heart of Glass and then get back to you with my thoughts on it. So I'm going to bed now, so I feel like saying thank you for watching, but there will be the next part of the video where I talk about the film, so enjoy that whenever I get around to doing it, which will be pretty soon. And I'm really excited to get down to 3 digits on this thing. It's going to take a lot longer to get down to 2 digits, and I'm thinking maybe decades. Yeah. Alright, so here is the box set in question. Would help to actually look at the shelves and not look at my camera, so I point at a completely different box set. This is like a little section I have of like directors, kind of, and Werner Herzog is here. So this is a fairly cool set. There's a lot of films in it. It's the BFI 18 film collection. I think there's more than 18 films if you count the short films, etc. So let's see on the back here where Heart of Glass is. 1976, there we go, Heart of Glass. But yeah, there's a shit ton of movies on here. And I've only seen a few of his films, maybe even 2. So it has Nosferatu, the vampire, which I have seen, which is a very interesting take on the Nosferatu story. And then I believe this set also has Aegir, Wrath of God, 1972, with Klaus Kinski. Well, both that and Nosferatu star Klaus Kinski, but that is a visually incredible film, Aegir. But otherwise, I'd say the majority of my familiarity with Werner Herzog comes from stuff like interview clips when he got shot with an air rifle while being interviewed by Mark Kermode, and possibly the coolest thing anyone has ever said after getting shot with an air rifle in the stomach to the point of bleeding during an interview and just shrugging it off and saying, it's nothing significant. And also The Mandalorian, his performance in The Mandalorian. I would like to see the baby. Anyway, Werner Herzog and Heart of Glass. Let's do this. Okay, so I got the film up and I just started watching it and I got really surprised by how the film begins. I mean, most of the time when you turn on a film, especially on a Blu-ray, I should say, well, on streaming it doesn't really happen, I guess. Well, it depends, but you put a Blu-ray on, you hit play on the screen, and you get like the whatever company releases the Blu-ray, you get their logo that you can't skip or whatever it is, and then there's blackness, and then you get like the production company logos. You got like a minute before the film really starts, and then maybe there's even an opening title sequence where it's text on black or whatever. And especially with independent films or European films, there's certain companies that need to be credited at the beginning. Heart of Glass, you click on it here, play film, and there we go, straight away. I thought, oh, have I just been dropped in? But no, it literally just bang. First frame, we are in the movie. And this song at the beginning reminds me of, I think it's the Grand Budapest Hotel. And yeah, so a beautiful opening image there. And here we go. Here I go. Ein Film von Werner Herzog. Okay, I'm finished with the 1976 film Heart of Glass, as seen in the BFI's Werner Herzog collection, which is absolutely loaded with stuff, as you already saw earlier. So, yeah, where do I even begin with a film like Heart of Glass? And my face is feeling very dry, so I'm going to give it a little bit of moisturization with some Nivea beeswax cream. Lest you think, what the hell is he rubbing into his face? And this is technically not even, this is like hand cream, but I don't know. Anyway, I have dry skin, so oh, the relief. So the film. Wow. I don't know where to go with this. Obviously, the exciting thing right now for me is I'm going to get to tick off that number 1000, but should we do that first, or should I do that first before I get into the film? I think yeah, let's just to give myself a bit of a boost, a mental boost. We're going to do this. Heart of Glass, 1976. And, what should I rate it? And this will probably give you a clue as to how I feel about the film. Now, first of all, let's have a look at that. 1,000 films. That's about to tick down to 999. Okay, the date I watched it, which is currently the 12th, because it's 4:30 in the morning. But I always go by the even if I start past midnight, I do it the day before, because that's like the day of me being awake that day. I don't know. It makes no sense, but I'm kind of a stickler for that. So we're gonna go 4. We're gonna go 4 out of 5, and it's done. Heart of Glass was added to your films, and your watch list was updated. Let's refresh that mother. And there we go. 999. I was expecting to feel a bit more about it, but I guess because it's 4:30 in the morning. Actually, no, it's not 4:30 in the morning. It's 10 to 5. So where do I go? So it's about this small Bavarian village in the 18th century. And this village is renowned for, or at least within the village itself, I don't know if it's exported, but the village themselves, they revolve around the production of glass, the glassworks factory, and in particular, a special type of glass that they produce called ruby glass, which is a nice red, kind of very beautiful glass. And off screen, the master glass worker has passed away. And with him, the secret of how to make and produce this ruby glass is gone, which throws the village into something of a disarray. And there's a young baron whose father is kind of in a wheelchair, can no longer perform, I guess, the duties of running the town, I suppose, and overseeing things. So this young man is basically the heir apparent to the town, and he is obsessed with finding out how to reproduce this ruby glass, and that's his mission. And this is all told through the framework of this character who is a prophet, and is based on a real life prophet from 18th century Bavaria, I believe. Herzog referred to him in the audio commentary as Nostradamus Bavaria style. Now, I don't have the time to watch the film with the commentary from Werner Herzog, but I can't not sample that. So I'm currently ripping the disc as I speak, and I'll be extracting the audio commentary and listening to that while I do other things, which is normally how I listen to audio commentaries. I don't really, it feels, as much as I wish I had the time to sit down and watch the film again with the audio commentary, because you get that visual aid. For me, it's much more convenient to listen to them while I'm doing something else, walking somewhere or doing housework, because it saves time for me. Unless it's a very, very special occasion. But I put on the audio commentary for the first few minutes, and it was just fascinating right from the get-go. That music that I said sounded like the music in, or at least one of the songs in the Grand Budapest Hotel. Werner Herzog said this is kind of traditional Swiss yodeling, which he loved a lot. And yes, it is it's a beautiful kind of strange sound. But man, so the film is really about everyone in the village kind of descending into madness very, very, very slowly. But you begin, and they're just, everything is strange to begin with. It's almost like Twin Peaks amped up to like 31. You know, if 10 is the scale, you kind of take the weirdness of the characters in Twin Peaks, the eccentricity of the characters in Twin Peaks, you turn that up to like 31, and you're somewhere close to approaching how the characters act and behave in Heart of Glass, which is no surprise considering, according to the director himself, the majority of the cast were hypnotized during this film. And I looked on IMDb, and most of the people who performed in this film don't have any other credits, including the man who played the young Baron, who I thought was a really fascinating on-screen figure. He had a very strange and unusual aura about him, a very distinctive face. He seemed like someone who would have been or would go on to be a great character actor, but apparently this is the only film he ever did, which may not be true. You can't, IMDb may be incorrect, but that's the only thing that's listed, and I couldn't find anything with a Google on the guy's name. But there's something so odd and unstudied and strange and vacant about his performance and many of the other performances, and it all begins to kind of slot into place when you read that Werner Herzog hypnotized these people and had them memorize their lines through hypnosis, and so you get this very weird, strange effect. It's almost like he kind of skipped over the part where you tell people to act weird, and you just get this authentic weirdness. This kind of dissociation, I guess, a disassociation, and I don't know how much I fully buy the whole hypnosis thing. It's nothing I've ever experienced before. It's certainly within the realms of possibility. I've never really thought about it too much, to be honest with you, but certain types of hypnosis seem a bit outlandish to me, believability wise. But I'm not entirely like people who go into a trance and things like that. But there are stories. There are these kind of weird. I read one about Sean Harris, I think is the actor's name, who went into this weird trance while he was making a movie. But anyway, so there's this, it makes sense when you watch the film that a lot of these people were not of sound mind when they made the film, because it's very believably odd and off the wall. And this prophet character is kind of going around and predicting the demise of the town and a big kind of tragedy, and the glass works are doomed basically, and so are the people in the village. But I would like to listen to the audio commentary in full, maybe come back and do like a full review of this film for Conquering My Collection. I might do that down the line, because this film is going to stay with me. Visually, there is some incredible stuff in this film. There's some beautiful cinematography, both from a standpoint of great landscapes and places that Herzog picked to kind of color in this film with nature and with shots of this prophet character kind of just sitting on like a hilltop overlooking these houses down below, or sitting down in this huge crevice, which is like this kind of very narrow valley, and up above, really high up in the sky, it's up in the, almost seems like it's up in the clouds, it's so high up, are these two bridges that go across the rock. And it's just these amazing locations that he found that that are really beautiful to look at, and they're shot beautifully and composed excellently. The framing is great, and then the quality of the transfer on this Blu-ray was great, I thought, especially considering there's two films on the Blu-ray. And yeah, so visually it was just, and there's some really nice kind of montage stuff with time lapse at the beginning of the film. There's this kind of sequence. Some stock footage was used, which is really ropey quality, which really stands out now when you look at it in high definition. But the stuff that they clearly shot for the film was beautiful, and particularly the final sequence, which is a little bit rough in some cases, but the ambition and the scope of the cinematography at the very end of the film are really interesting. It's kind of like an epilogue that isn't, I don't know, you can kind of tie it to the rest of the film, but it's this kind of standalone little short story at the very end of the film, which was shot on Skellig Michael, which are two islands off the coast of Ireland, which make up one of the primary locations in my favorite film of all time, Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi. The main island of Skellig Michael was used for the planet Acto, where we see Luke Skywalker and Rey, and is also seen in The Force Awakens. And so seeing similar shots of this island, but like shot in 1976 on really grainy like 1970s film footage, and then like a man with a beard in this kind of like 18th century kind of clothing stood on top of the rock while the helicopter is panning around. It was very similar to The Force Awakens, and it was kind of wild to me because I'm so familiar with that landscape, because it is my favorite film, and I've seen it so many times, and seeing it through a different lens was really interesting. But that's just one aspect of it, and then it's this standalone story at the end, which was interesting. the prophet's speeches, I don't know whether like the things that he says in the film are taken verbatim or very close to what the man who inspired this character, the original prophet, in history, had said. Because there's moments where he'll just sit there and he just goes on and on and on about these things that he's seeing, and there is something captivating about that. But it's a very slow paced film. There'll be a character there just talking, and there are people in the background who are just frozen in time almost. These some of the scenes are just like it's like a trance. It kind of dips its toe into slow cinema a little bit at times. I wish there had been a bit more of a drive for the central story, because it seemed to lose its thread a little bit towards the end. But you do get this genuine sense of just this little tiny little society just kind of unraveling, very slowly, to the point where it's almost like no one really knows that it's going on until it all goes up in flames. So I really liked it. I liked it a lot. It's going to stay with me. The visuals are certainly very, very memorable, but the story is a bit dense. There's not a lot of movement in that story, and but I found the guy who played the young Baron to be, and he's not mentioned as the Baron in the film, but I looked on Wikipedia and that was the kind of term, which I can't remember the character's name, one of those things, so we'll just call him the young Baron. I thought he was really highly memorable, and there's other people in the film who got very distinctive faces, and there was one older actor who worked with Herzog on a number of films, and he was, it feels like Herzog kind of found people with really interesting faces, because that really adds to the kind of unique quality of the film. I think is just these strange faces in this strange town with a very strange story, and yeah, so I really liked it, Heart of Glass, and that was the historic film that brought me down to three figures on the old Blu-ray watch list. 999 films left to go. But I would like to kind of listen to the commentary and maybe do a fuller review where I'll probably talk about all the. I've already mentioned the same things because I've kind of got into it quite a bit here, so it is what it is. But yeah, what else can I say really? I liked it a lot. I feel like I'm just repeating myself at this point. I don't know what more I can add really. Again, I think that the film looked so beautiful, and there's a lot of dark photography in there, and it's very, I don't know, some of the lighting was very stark, and I feel like if the story had been more focused, and we'd had more of a payoff with, say, the Baron character, etc., because we kind of see him wander off, and he does this thing off screen, and then we just kind of see him briefly towards the end, and it's I don't know, it doesn't feel like there's much of a payoff with his character, but I also don't feel like Werner Herzog is all that interested in paying off characters or working to any kind of three-act structure that traditional films follow. So I understand that, but I feel like there was so much promise in the film. Like I feel like it could have been like a five-star classic if there'd been a bit more of a laser focus on telling the story, in a traditional sense, which again, is that really in the spirit of this kind of film? I don't think it is. Is it in the spirit of this film to be a five-star classic? I don't think it is. I think it's about Werner Herzog exploring weirdness in a way. And there are probably people who could say, no, it's about this and it's about that. It's not about him just exploring weirdness. There's these themes and the subtextual. Yep, it's over my head, at least on a first viewing. And maybe listening to his commentary would kind of open my eyes a bit to that. And I love just his voice, Werner Herzog. So that commentary is going to be a joy to listen to. And I'm glad that I think there's about 6 or 7 audio commentaries on this box set. So lots to get into. And it is a box set that I was really glad to get and pick up, but it's just finding the right time to dive into some of these films. And so far with the films of his that I've seen, it's always been really memorable visuals and strange characters and a unique aura and atmosphere to the films. There's this exchange between these two guys in the bar, and they're kind of having a bar fight incredibly slowly. They just sat there just staring at each other, kind of saying shit. and then one of them just picks up a glass to smash over the other one's head, and it's a very slow thing, you know, and what happens with those two characters is very, very weird and fucked up as the film progresses. And it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. And it's always, for me, unless it's something like disgusting or abhorrent, it's always a good day in the film watching office if I see something that I've never seen done before, or something done in a way that I've never seen done before. If that makes sense. Yeah, Heart of Glass. If nothing else, unique. So there we go. That was it. 999 films to go. And as always, I kind of feel like shuffling now just to kind of see what comes up next. But I shall leave it there for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And hopefully the next episode of Blu-ray Roulette will arrive to you sooner than it took for me to get around to doing this one after the last one. Thank you and good night.
He's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans of Carlin into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you, 'cause